Hello, 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 hello. Am I audible now? Is it clear? My voice is clear now? Okay. So I hope my voice is clear to everyone. Right. So let's start. 1 minute. So where were we in the last class? Can someone give me a heads up? Like where were we last class? What did we do last class? Like where did we stop? Yeah, obviously data structure completed. Did I explain if else? Did I explain if else? Conditionals. Okay. I didn't start conditionals or anything. I completed sets. Okay. So let's start with conditionals. So our core data structure is already done. Okay. And now what we need to learn is basically uh, conditionals. Okay. Give me 1 minute before we start. Let me close down the Zoom stuff. Okay. So we already learned about Boolean, right? So Boolean is like, okay, Boolean is what? True and false, right? Now there are things that can be true, which are correct, and there are things that can be false, which are incorrect, right? For example, if I want to know, let's just say, let's create two variables. One is old and another is licensed. Okay. Okay. Right. Now if someone is old enough, okay, then print, okay, you're old enough. Guys, can you type in English because I don't understand Telugu. So okay, voice is not clear. Okay, try to uh let me try to fix my voice. Give me 5 minutes because I'll try to fix up my voice and then we'll continue. Okay, give me just 5 minutes. Yeah, yeah. Give me 5 minutes and I'll fix it. Hello, 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 hello. Is my voice now clear? Much more clear? Okay. Um, okay, okay. So I believe now my voice is pretty clear and I should continue now. Okay. So guys, we have two variables. We have created two variables. One is old, another is licensed. We already read about true and false, which were Boolean. To the majority now. Is my voice clear? Is it loud enough to the majority? Yes, no, yes, no. Okay. If someone is not getting my voice clear, it's probably their own issue because most of the people can hear me clearly. So it's problem on your end, your connection. Try to check it. Okay. Okay. So we checked on two um, we read about booleans true false. We have created two variables true true, and now we are checking. Okay. So there is this keyword called as if. Okay. We use if keyword to check on conditions, certain conditions. We check if something is true or false. Okay. I understand, every one of you understand what true means and what false means. Okay. So let's just say if is old, then you print you are old enough to drive. So let's just see what we get. Yes, you are old enough to drive. Why? Because it is true. Assume, assume okay, we also read about this keyword, right? Logical operators, I believe. And if we have this logical operator called as and, okay, we have this logical operator and we say, is someone also licensed? So now we are saying, is someone old and also is someone licensed? Okay. It's probably your issue 21T1, whatever the name is. Okay. The problem is on your system. It's not on my side because most of the people in the class are able to hear me clearly. So if the it would have been problem on my end with the voice clarity, it should have been with everyone. I already checked my mic, changed my mic, so it should be clear. To be honest, I anyways use the most expensive mic to do this class. So it should be clear. Okay. Um, how many of you are facing this issue of voice? If there are individual people who are facing issues with voice and you have issues with attendance, please inform Blackbucks that I have connection issues and then leave. Okay. Guys, now I won't discuss anymore on voice because I want to teach. Okay. I'm sorry because the problem is with your connection. That's why I asked majority if all of you guys are able to hear me. Okay. Okay, then. Uh, Now we use is cold, is licensed, and then we are using this and operator, right? If someone is old and is licensed, if both are true, that then it will print you are old enough to drive, right? If let's just say this is false, is licensed is false, then you see nothing is printed. To check that, to check that, now there's something that you would notice, okay? Let me remove it for the first time. So let's just say true. You will notice that there is a space in here. Okay. There is a space in here. So to understand that which part of the code belong to which block, Python uses indentation. Okay. What is indentation? In some languages, you might be seeing something like this, curly braces. Python uses spaces. So there is a standard. Some people use two space. Okay. There is a standard. Some people use two space. Some people use four space. Okay. And some people use tab. And some people use tab. Okay. If you ask me, I personally use tab. The reason is it's just very consistent and you have to press it once, but you are free to use spaces. Okay. In this particular editor, which is REPL, they use two space. Okay. So you will see that everything that goes in this block will be indented. That is what indentation is. Okay. Now this is indented. This tells me that this is next line, part of if block, and it is indented. Okay. But if you see in this line, this is not indented. Hence, it tells me that this is still part of the same line anyways. Okay. I can indent it, try to indent it. And I don't think so anything will change because it is anyways part of the same block. Right. But if I want to run some other command, assume I want to print something outside. Okay. Just to check. If I am not indenting it with two space, then it prints by default. So it does not even check for this. Obviously, this condition fails and it will print always. Okay. Now, what if now this, okay, we are driving. If it is old is true. If his license is you are old enough to drive. That's not the right way to do it, right? So we need to check. We need to check. Okay. Elif. Okay. So in some languages, you will see this is what the syntax is. Okay, I'll just quickly repeat on the indentation. Two blocks, you have true and false, right? On every block, there is indentation. You have to have some space to let the program know that these particular lines are on in this block, and so on and so forth. And then you can execute it. Anything outside of indented block will execute outside it. You'll understand it more as we write more and more programs. Okay. Now, you would have seen else if in C, C++ if your class you have attended some classes like that, right? But what if we are using elif? Okay, in Python we have command elif. It means the same. Though when you are attaching anything if, okay, though you are attaching anything if, it is expecting a condition. Okay, so this is the condition. So we are saying if someone is old, we can remove this and one. Okay, if someone is old, check you're old enough to drive. Then check, okay, if somehow if this fails, okay, somehow if this fails, then you have to check if the person is licensed as well. Okay. Obviously, this is not the right way to do this program, but I just want to show how elif works. Okay. So you are licensed. Okay. Now you're old enough to drive, right? We have this. You are old enough to drive. That's just bringing in space. No point. Yeah. Okay. So this says you're old enough to drive. Okay. But it doesn't print you are licensed. It doesn't print you are licensed because this is, it's not because it is false. Let's make it true. Okay. It's because it is checking if says check if this is true. And if this is false, then you have to go on this condition. But this was not false. Line number 4 was not false. Okay. This line was not false. So it checks first statement. then it prints if it is true. If it is false, assume if the first one is false, then only it will go on line number 6, or else it will go outside. Okay. So let's see. You are licensed outside. Cool, right? So we check a condition, then we check if it is false, and then finally the final structure of else if is the last one else. Else has no precondition basically, and no matter what, if both of the conditions above fails, okay, this will be printed. Not enough data. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Right now, else is not printed. Okay, let's try to make both of these statement false. And now when both of these are false, not enough data. This is printed. Okay. And in all of these lines, you will see that I have an indentation block, which tells this program, okay, that this print is part of these respective blocks. Okay. You'll start to understand more and more as we dive into functions. Okay. Let's move to understand truthy and falsy. So what is truthy and falsy? Um, okay. There are a few things that we can try to figure out. Okay. Let me think of a good example for you guys. Hmm. So let's just say if I print hello, what it will print? It's printing hello. Okay. If I print a bool of hello, you already know this. This is typecasting syntax. I already explained about this, right? Then it prints true. Okay. Then true, right? What about if I print? Tell me what will be the answer of this. If someone knows, type it. Type it fast. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Okay, it's false. It's false. It's false. It's not true because none is a falsy value. Okay. What would be the bool of this? And what would be the bool of? Okay, tell me. For these two, in 5 seconds, type what would be the output? True, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false. Okay. For both of them, let's see, let's check. It's false. For both of them, it will be false. Okay. Now, don't be confused. Don't be confused because what truthy and falsy means, truthy means that it has some value. Basically, there is something in there, right? As you see, when we are typing in string, it has some value, right? HELLO. But this particular string has no value. There's just like an empty string without, it does not even have a space. If I enter a space, let's see, yes, it becomes true. But this does not even have a space. Hence why it is false. Boolean of 0 is always false because it's a 0 value. So anything, any data type which represents 0 value of that particular data type, Boolean of that data type is a falsy. Okay. Boolean of that data type is a falsy value. Okay, make sense? Cool. Uh, Now you have bool none, bool. Cool. We already did that, and now let's move to ternary operator. So I believe truthy and false is clear. It's very simple concept. What is true, what is false, you just need to understand. Okay. Let's look at ternary operator. So let's try to understand is intelligent is equal to true. Okay. Let's check it. Okay. Print bool -1. What it is? Let's just quickly check it. It's true because it is still has some value. It is not a falsy. Okay. Now moving forward, his friend. His friend true. Then the person can message me. Okay. Okay. So what are we doing here? This is basically a shorthand ternary. Okay. It's very readable. What we are saying, if someone is my friend, then print this. Okay. But if it is false, else print this. Okay. Basically, is not allowed to message. And what we can, so store this, not print. So what it is doing, if this is true, can message will hold this value. If it is false, then can message will hold this value. Okay. Okay. So let's try to see what can message shows us. Message allowed, right? Right? And if it is false, not allowed to message. Very simple. It is a shorthand. Basically, it means the same thing. It is basically doing the same thing. Message allowed, and then we are doing else. This is the same thing, but it is okay. It is actually, it requires more number of lines to do a simple stuff. Hence, this is a one-liner shorthand. In Python, you will see a lot of shorthands actually, and that is why sometimes the code can become very confusing. Okay. Hence, you need to understand these play arounds and ternaries and all those things to understand someone's else code. This is done to actually remove or reduce verbosity of your code. Okay. Okay. So there is concept of short circuiting in Python. So let's type this. Friend is true. Okay. And then we have is user. I'll repeat again soon enough. And if user is also true. Okay. Now let's try to create. Okay, can message. Can message. Yeah, let's try to do the same thing. Okay. So this is a similar sort of condition, right? If this statement is true, okay, if this first part of the statement is true, if this first part of the statement is true, then the first part of the output message will be stored in here. This can be anything. that you want to store in this particular variable, okay, is you store this. If this is false, you store this. Okay. Now you have to tell me, will this okay, will this short circuit or not? And if, okay, I think you guys anyways don't know short circuiting, so I'll tell you first. So short circuiting is a process. I'll give you a vague answer and then I'll explain you in detail. Short circuiting happens when something is partially computed, okay, when something is partially computed, when something is partially computed, okay, and you already know the result. That is what? Short circuiting. Now, just take a quick guess. Just take a quick guess. If you think somewhere in this particular program, there is a short circuit happening. Just answer me with yes, no. And why? Oh, you like my face? You guys want to see me? Okay, cool. Let me let me look out for my face stuff. So yeah, meanwhile, just answer it. True, input available, message allowed. Mm, You didn't understand. I explained you short circuiting concept. Okay. What I explained, okay. What I explained is if first part, okay. Sorry, if first part of your if statement is true, then this is stored in can message, right? But I am saying short circuiting is a process in which you only need to partially compute and you already know what will be the answer. So is this code short circuiting or not? Not really. Okay. This won't short circuit. And I'll tell you the reason why it won't. Okay. So, and I'll also explain you a bit more detail. So assume, assume this is true. Okay. And this is instead of and, we have or operator. Assume this. Technically, this will be short circuited. And why this will be short circuited? Because if you know, true or true is true, okay? True or false equals true. False or true equals true. And false or false equals false, right? You already know this. Now, what is happening? If his friend is true, if his friend is true, okay, then I don't even need to compute the second part. I don't even need to compute this second part. I already know this first statement is true. Hence, it will short circuit. It will stop here. It will short circuit and just return this. Right? What about how short circuit happens in case of AND? Now, let's go back to AND. In here, his friend is true. Is my audio unclear to everyone? Is my audio clear? Yes or no? It's clear. So, Raja, what was the name? Rama Babu or Raja Babu? So whoever it was, it's mostly your issue is on your end. Okay. So, okay. So in this case, since both are true, first we check is friend, but with AND operator, we know if something is true on the first part, it is not necessary that second one is also true. This whole statement will become true because the only condition where you get true out of AND operator is when both the elements are true. Hence, it won't short circuit and you have to compute both of these. And you have to compute both of these. Exactly. Right, Avinash? Right? So we have to compute both of these. Right? But if I happen to make the first statement false, assume, then it will short circuit. The reason is, obviously, if this is false, then by default it will be false because for an AND condition to be true, both of the parameters needs to be true. Okay. The topic today is basically the broad topic is core Python. We have moved off data structures. Okay. And we have started with conditionals right now. Okay. So we started with conditional. I explained truthy, falsy. And right now I just explained ternary operator. And for now, I'm explaining you the concept of short circuiting. Tathastu. Got it? And I think I already explained short circuiting. So we can move forward. Okay. So a basic task, if both are true, the AND condition is true in all other. Yes, correct, right? So let's move forward. So there a basic task, okay? Now start telling me one by one. When I say start, you have to tell me the output, okay? So start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. 4 is greater than 5. Exactly, it's false. Okay. Let's try to look at this. What would this be? False, right? Okay. Now, what would this be? What would be the output here? True, false, error, true, false, error, none. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's see what will be the output. It's false. It won't be error, it will be false. And I will leave you to Google it, but I'll give you a hint. Okay. I'll give you a hint. Basically, it's related to ASCII value. If you have read your data structure classes, in ASCII values, every character is represented by a number. Okay. It starts somewhere around 76 or so. Okay. And hence, you can compare these numbers and A, B, C, D are represented in an incremental number format. Hence why it will be false. Okay. Okay. Let's see. What is the output here? True, false, true, false, true, false. Let's see. False. Right. So what is this exclamation mark? I didn't tell you about exclamation mark, but exclamation mark is not. Okay. It is not. It is basically opposite of equals mark. It is not. Okay. Now, there are two more operators. That is one. Greater than equals operator and less than equals operator. Right. It will be true. Okay. The first one is true. Why is second one false? Obviously, it's false. It's not less than equals to 2. Right. That's why. Now, not has another way which we have already seen. Not can be represented as such as well. Print not and enclose true. This what this will do? This will print false. And if you write false here, what it will do? It will basically give true. Right. So these are all the operator operations. These are all the logical operators that you will need throughout your Python career. Okay. Greater than, less than, double equals, greater than equals, less than equals, not equals, and or not. Okay. Okay. So there is a very quick exercise. There is a very quick exercise. Do you guys all have your editor or something like that open in your system? Do you have your laptop with you? Okay. The ones who don't have laptop, try this in your notebook. Okay. The ones who don't, so who has laptop, they can try on their laptops. So this is the task. Okay. You have two variables. Is magician equals to true and is expert equals to false, and check if magician and expert, you have to check. Okay. If if both are true, then you print you are magician. If something is not true, okay, then you are getting there. Basically, you are trying hard. And if you are not a magician, you need magic powers. Basically, both are false. Now, write. Okay. I already shared Rahul in the first class itself in the PPT slide also. It was there. It's repel.it.com. Repelit.com. That's what I am using. Okay. So it's a race. It's a race. You have to write this program fast. The first one to complete it, and I'll basically move forward with the proper solution. I'll wait for your solution. Ting 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 ting. Clear? Arey, do programming, ra. Uh don't watch my hear my singing. It's already written here, Srikanth. I want you guys to execute this program as fast as possible and send me the code on chat. Okay. Check if magician is expert and magician, and so on and so forth. I already wrote programs like this. Now you need to write it down. You guys, man, you guys don't even start attending the class. Where is attendance? Attendance, sir. Attendance, attendance. Guys, fast. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. Fast, fast, fast. You can ask 2 questions. Ask many questions, as many as you can. I asked you guys to write the program, not print. At least you are getting there 1,000 times. Sandhya, you have to ask for recorded session to Blackbucks. But what we have covered in first, second, and third class is mostly Python basics and machine learning introduction. You can also cover it by yourself if you want, or watch the videos. If magician and is expert, okay, cool. Finally, someone did it. Okay, I'll move forward. This is the basic. If you guys are not able to do it, finally I got someone. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, at least you are getting there, right? If you are not an expert, if you are both an expert and a magician, you are a magician, right? Who is this? Siv Sundar. Really, really nice. Good. You were the first one to do it. Okay. And if both are false, if both are false, then you need magic power. Basically, you suck. You need magic power. Okay. So let's do some brain teasers. Okay. Let's do some brain teasers. We'll go one by one. We'll go one by one. Oops. Okay, we'll go one by one. And you have to tell me what is the output of each of those. Okay. Tell me what will be the output here. True or false? True, 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 true. True, 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 true. Okay. I saw, so Shankar was the first one to print false, and there are some false. Okay. There are some false and there are many trues. Okay. Okay. Now, whoever wrote false, I want reason why you wrote false. Because you wrote false. Tell me the reason. Why is it false? Why do you think it's false? Sundar was the first one to actually write false. So Sundar, false because it is false. Both lists have different memory locations. Exactly right, Bala. Exactly right. So we talked about memory allocation previously. Okay, when we were discussing data structures, right? Each of the data structure represent its own sort of memory allocation, and hence why this is false. Okay, empty bracket is not equals empty bracket because it is comparing memory address as well. It is basically strict checking. Okay, but let's say we try to do this and it becomes true because this is not strictly checking. Now, one thing that you learn from here is when you use is keyword, it basically checks strictly. But when you use double equals, it does not check strictly. Okay? Okay. Quickly, what would be the value here? Is it true or false? One true, 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 true. Okay. It's all true. Okay, there is one false. Jagdish Jaggu, why it's false? False, 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 false. No, the answer is true. Answer is true. Okay. Answer is true because, okay, because one is a truthy value. One is a truthy value. I already explained about truthy and falsy, right? And this does not check strictly. However, if we do is, in here is won't work. Why? Because again, is very strict, and hence it also tries to compare types. And because they are not compatible types, even though it will print false, it will give you a syntax warning. Basically, it is not meant to do this, right? So on strict checking, it is false, but on non-strict checking, it is true. Okay. So let's try true or false. True or false? Exactly, it is false. Exactly, exactly. Yes, 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 it's false. Okay. But when you use double equals, it is basically true. Okay. Um, let's try to understand. Okay. What about this? True or false? False. Right, it's false. It's false. Is it false? Yes, it's false. Okay. Why it is false? Again, asserting. Is does strict checking. Is does strict checking. Okay. Hence it is false. Double equals does non-strict checking. Hence it is true. Okay. When I say double equals, it will check truthy values. But in here, this is also coming as false. Why? Because because a string is not equals exactly because of the data type. But if we do something like this, do we get true? And yes, we get true. Yes, we get true. Okay. So you need to understand this, play more with strict checking, which is and double equals. You can get much more used to it. Okay. Final example. Tell me what would be the output here. True or false? Guys, you guys are not able to understand it. Why will it be true? Why will it be true? I keep on saying, is this for strict checking? I already showed you one example. I showed you example that data structures allocate to different memory locations. And in here, they are stored in different memory locations. For example, this is stored in X1, something like this. And this is stored in, they both are different. Okay. However, if you use double equals, obviously, then you can call it equal because that is non-strict checking. But if you want to do strict checking, then you use is. But if you want to do non-strict checking, then you use double equals. Okay. Hence why this will be false. Okay. Let's try to make one more example. What would be the output here? True or false? Guys, there can be two reasons for you guys answering this as true. Okay. There can be two possible reasons you are answering this as true. One, either you are trolling me. Okay. Oh, obviously you are not trolling me. So there can be two reasons. This can be false. Whoever answered here false, either you are trolling me. Okay. Either you are trolling me or you are seriously super dumb. Why will this be false, man? This is the double equals is not a strict check. I keep on saying it is not a strict check. Okay. This is a strict check. This is non-strict check. If we are doing non-strict check, then it is supposed to be true. If it is a strict check, then it is supposed to be false. It is false when we use is because it checks memory allocation. But this is true. This is true because this is not a strict check. Okay, let's try more example. Okay. Okay. Will this be true or false? Right, it will be true. Okay. Will this be true or false? Okay, this will be false. Correct. Now I'll move forward. I hope you guys understand it. Okay. I hope you guys understand it. Okay. Now let's move on to loops. Okay. We will study about loops. Ashok, I would now suggest that you, if you didn't understand it, do practice it at home. Okay, we need to move forward. Try to practice it more. You will understand it. Try to do it yourself. Okay. So we will now study loops. What is a loop? A loop is something basically, okay, that repeats. Okay, that's what the English meaning is. Loop. Loop it, repeat it, loop it, repeat it. Okay. Iteration is not sort of exact meaning of loop. Reiteration is exact meaning of loop. Okay. But iteration, what iteration means that it can be iterated, hence it can be looped on. Okay. That's what iteration means. It is iterative. It can be looped on. Okay. So when we are on loops, first, this is the most common loop that you might have seen in your previous, okay, in your previous programming language learnings or whatever. So let's try for in, let's try to write some sort of string and try to print it, and then we print it and let's see. Okay. So what does this say? We are using a loop. So for is a keyword that says, okay, use a for loop. For is a type of loop. We are saying use a for loop, use a for loop. Okay. in, okay, in says in an iterable. So this part is iterable, okay, which is this one, okay. Now, as we already discussed that usually strings work very similar to array. Henceforth, what it will do, it will try to print each item in that particular array. So let's see what happens. Element index at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and one by one, it prints, right? Let's see one more example. Assume this is not a string, and if this is a number, okay, right? Okay, not a problem. There, we can also have nested loops or something. We can have something like for x in, let's take a set. In this set, let's create 3 of these. Sorry, I forgot the code. Okay. X, right? Right? So what we are doing, we are creating loop 1 and nesting another loop inside it. Okay. So we are, what this does, it execute this loop, okay, for every item outside it. So which is like, for let's just say for one, it will iterate 1, 1, 1, 1, BAC. Now someone answer me, even though we have written ABC, why it is printing BAC? I have already taught this. Why? Correct. Set is unordered. That's why. Okay. Set is unordered, hence why it's printing like without any order. So BAC 111, BAC 222, BAC 333, so on and so forth. Okay. Um, right. So what is an iterable? Okay. What is an iterable? Iterable, error is coming. Where is the error? There is no error. It's working fine. Anyways, so what is the iterable? Iterable are basically those data structures which can be iterated over element by element. Okay. For example, list, dictionary, set, tuple, string. We have already read about all these data structures in our previous class, right? For tuple, sets, and list and string, it's pretty much similar how you do. But for dictionary, it's a bit different. Okay. Okay. Let's try to do one more thing. Can we try to have get one index? No. So there is some magic that we need to do later on to get index out of it, which I'll tell you. But let's start with dictionary for now. Okay. So user. Okay. Um, we have user and we need to print items. We need to get item inside user. Okay. So user.items is iterable. Okay. And we can iterate over it. one by one. So let's see what do we get. And we get these three tuples. Okay. How do we know that it is a tuple? Quickly answer it. How do we know this is a tuple? How do we know this is a tuple? Correct. Because of the braces. The braces are different. Right. So there was something that I told you. If you remember, can we do can we do something like this? Can we do this? And yes, we can do this. What is this called? What is this called? Quickly. Unpacking. Unpacking. It's called unpacking. I explained this in last class. This is called unpacking. We get a tuple and we are unpacking key and value out of it. Okay. Okay. What if I just want to print keys? I don't want to print like this whole tuple. Then what I can do? I can simply say print key. So get key in keys. And let's try to get it. Key indict is okay. That's reserved. So uh, uh, use key indict instead of key. Okay, this is not recommended way actually. So this is not recommended way. That's what it is saying, that you should use key indict instead of key indict dot keys. So what it is saying is it saying something like this? Is it saying something like this? And yes, it is saying, so you don't really need this explicit keys to get key out of it. But can we get values also out of it? Let's see. Too many values to unpack. Too many values to unpack. Is it because of the syntax? Too many values to unpack. So basically, if we don't give it items, it only holds key. In that way, what we need to do is like, we need to get value as such. Okay. What about if I just want to get values and not keys? Then I can just use values, and then I can say value, and then I can remove this and I can just print value, and it should work. It's not difficult, very simple. There are basically three main methods within user to get iterable: items, values, and keys. Okay. Items return a tuple of key and value. Values return values. Keys return keys of the dictionary. Okay. You don't really need to use keys to get key of the dictionary. You can basically omit keys by default. By default, when iterating over a dictionary, you get key. Everyone, clinic all clear? Clear? Yes, no, yes, no. So if anyone has any questions up until this point, okay, ask me. We have 1 minute. I'll give 1 minute to write questions. Short circuiting is useful for knowing that short circuiting happens. Okay. It's just about performance. You just know that something will be more performant, and you will just get used to it when you write more and more program. Okay. No more questions. Is it possible to print keys of a dictionary without using loop? I don't know. I only know one way to do it. This is how I have been doing. Okay. If there is, I would like to know. So why it is not required to write user.keys when we are printing keys? For that, I'll have to ask creator of Pythons. It's just syntax. I don't know. Okay. There is no particular reason, but it's just syntax. Um, the thing is, by default, how dictionaries are designed, you can just iterate over it and it will give you keys. That's how it is. Okay. How to create user-defined dictionary? What did I do? This is user-defined dictionary. Explain again what? Nagendra, be specific. What do you want me to explain again? User.values. What's the syntax behind it? Syntax logic behind it. Good question. Okay. Do one thing. When you install Python, you can see this values. Click on that value, command and click, and it will redirect you to the source code. You will be able to understand it. Right now, I don't know how they have implemented. Even I have to look it to explain it to you. So, okay, let me quickly look through it. So what they have done is they have created a method. So there is a class, they have created a method, and then it basically has some implementation for getting values. Values, yeah, yep. That's how they do it. So you can look into the source code. Siva Shankar Kumar, I don't share the source code because I expect you guys to do it yourself as well. If you are not doing it yourself, then what's the point of attending this class? What will you learn out of it? Because this is still very basic. Once we start moving to something really more advanced, you'll practically learn nothing if you don't do it yourself. Literally, there will be zero output from you guys if you don't do it yourself and if you don't code it yourself. So I am already showing you all the specifics. All you have to do is write down or code it yourself on your computer. The whole idea is you need to remember, you need to see, you need to create your muscle memory. Okay, when I type dictionary, yes, I have to print values, and this is how we print values. These are the indentations, and so on and so forth. So this is sort of muscle memory that you need to create. Got it? Okay, let's move forward. So I think in the last class we discussed something about range, right? And we can create a range. And then can I do something like this? And what will happen? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. That's what range does. We can create basically an array or something with range. Okay. Inclusive of first part and exclusive of the last part. Okay. Karthik's session is already being recorded. Okay. So if you understand this already, tell me what will be the output here. Quickly tell me what would be the output here. Boom, 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 boom. Because it is looping 9 times. That is why. Let's try to do this. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now there is practically no difference between this and this. But when you are giving single argument, you are saying that first argument is by default 0. That's what you are doing. By the way, this is a best practice in most of the programming languages. When you are using dash, you are just saying that you won't be particularly using that particular value. Okay. Hence why you are annotating something as dash. Okay. You will see it in a lot of programming languages. All right. What about what happens here? 0, -1. What happens here? Quickly. 10, 9, 8, 7. And yes, it is reversed 10 to 1. Inclusive of this, exclusive of this. Because it is reversed. Okay. What happens if I do? Because step over is -1. What happens here? What happens here? What do we get here? Oops, 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 oops. Basically, we get nothing. Now, why is that? Can someone tell me? Does someone know? Write down your answer quickly if you know it. Why we are getting empty? You are right, it is out of range, but because this is not in context of an array, what it does, it just exits loop because it is backward indexing, right? So at 0 index, it is 0, but there is nothing beyond that. Hence, it will print nothing. Okay. Remember, I said we need to have index as well. So there is a keyword. There is a keyword for getting index. It is called enumerate. It's called enumerate. When you attach enumerate to something, we can get both index of that particular value, okay, and also the value. So you can see it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? This is essentially useful. This is essentially useful in cases if we want to check something at a particular index. Okay. So assume let's say here, assume we want to check this. We want to print our character. Okay. Something like this. Let's try to print. So we want to print the character which is present only at index 50 in this list that we are enumerating. Let's see what we get. Index 50. Oh, wait, this is not character, this is values, that's why. Index 50 value. Okay. What if we remove list here? Will we get it still? Will we get it still? Let's see. Yes, no difference. Okay. If you remember, we are actually wrapping the range into the list. Give me 1 minute, guys. Seems there is a power cut. Okay. So now the people who wanted to see my beautiful face won't be able to see my beautiful face. So they'll have to bear with me. Okay. But I should be audible because I have power backup on my Wi-Fi. Okay. So now what we are doing, we have enumerate, and if you remember in the last class, when you wrap something with list, okay, especially the range with list, it used to produce list, right? List as in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is the same in for loop. You don't need to explicitly do that. In for loop, you don't need to explicitly do that. You can just use enumerate range 100 and boom. Okay. Okay. I hope this is also all clear to everyone. Okay. So now there is this different kind of loop. It's called, while. While print hello. Oops. Print hello. Okay. What will happen here? What will happen here? Obviously, it will print hello. But how many times? Exactly, it will print infinite times hello. Now, I won't print it because I don't want to break this repellate. Okay. But this will keep on printing hello. So, what we can do? If we want to print it only once, there is a keyword called as break. Sorry. And if we do this, it will just print hello once. It will just print hello once. And then you should be able to see the output. Okay. So that's one way to do it, right? Or else, let's just say if I only want to print this 3 times, right? If I only want to print hello 3 times, someone is asking me when will AIML DS concept start? When we will be done with Python, then we will start with AIML DS concept. Okay. And please do ask me questions only when I give you space to ask questions. Please try not to ask question in between because it sort of stops my flow of teaching you guys. Okay. So while I is less than 3, print hello. Okay. One minute, guys. You guys can watch my beautiful face again. Okay. Okay, my beautiful face is visible. Okay, cool. So now, if you see, we have not even defined I, right? I is not defined. It's saying, right? I is not defined. So we have to define I somewhere. If you remember, we read something like this. What was this called? What was this called? What was this called? Obviously, it was called increment. Augmented assignment. Okay. This was called augmented assignment, but there is still a problem here. What is the problem here? Can someone tell me what is the problem here? What is the problem here? I is not defined. Correct. We need to initialize it. So we need to initialize it. And let's just see what will happen. Oh, it printed only once. Why is it printing only once? Because of the break statement. If we remove break statement, what it will do? It will print 3 times. Cool. This is what we wanted. Now, while surprisingly also have something amazing called as S. Okay. And then we can say Khatam, Tata, bye bye. Okay. Right. So it is not if else sort of, but the else condition tells that after you are done with your while loop, this is the default sort of block that you need to execute. Okay. This is the default block that you need to execute. Right? Now, there, so you understand break. You also understand if why do we need okay, there is this while. Sometimes we need this something like this. Okay. Sometimes we need something like this. And why do we need? Let's just say we want a specific response from someone. Okay. Let's just say we want a response from someone. Okay. And we want this response up until someone say khatam, tata, bye bye. Okay. So let's just say khatam. Okay. And then we can break. Okay. If we want to execute some, so let's just say something or say something again. It is okay. Oh, not again. Wow, no, again, right? But if we want to end it, khatam. So in scenarios like this is where break is useful and infinite loops are useful. So what it does, okay. So what is happening in this program? Let's understand it. We learned about input. We also know Python is an interpreted language, hence it executes everything line by line. It went to line number 2, okay, and then it stops. And then it stops for input, to take an input from you guys, okay? And then in response, it is basically asking you to check if we are able to check if you get this exact input or not. It instantly goes to line 3. If it is not, then obviously it is a while loop. And hence, it is again true. It repeats itself again and asks for your input. So it keeps on repeating this loop. That's what is happening in here. In this sort of scenario, break is super useful. Okay. there is something called as pass. Okay. Um, this is not really used so often. It's, I mean, it's pretty much useless, but it is still part of the language. You won't use it a lot, but there is something called as pass. Okay. Why you have it? Okay, let's say we write pass and then print hello. Does it do anything? It's infinite loop. Wait, no, that's not correct. So you need to add a break. Let's add break. Okay. Right. So there is this break. Right. Pass does technically it didn't do anything. It is still printed. So what is pass doing? In case, let's just say you have something like this, it's just an error, it's a filler, you're just telling it, yeah, it will be there. It's mostly used when you are trying to write unit tests. Now don't ask me unit test, at some point I'll explain you. Okay, but it is more sort of for your local testing purposes. Okay, it is not used mostly in your program. Okay, but there is something that is used in your program. For example, you have something like this. Now if you use continue, what it will do, it will skip the next statement, anything after that, and it will actually go towards the head of this loop again. Okay, so let's try to understand it. If item equals to, then continue. Okay, and let's see what we'll get. So we got 1 and we got 3, but continue actually again moved us here. Okay, continue moved us here again. Okay. Cool. Let's see one more example. Let's see it with while loop. So in this while loop, in this while loop, let's just say we have an array of 1, 2, 3. We are having a while loop, okay, where I is less than length of the list. Okay, we print and print and print and then continue. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Obviously continue, nothing is happening in here, but just in case, if I put continue here and I put this in here, it will go. You can see it, this basically, this line is unreachable. Okay, this line is unreachable, right? So that's it. That is it about our if else and so on and so forth. Okay, let's start with, we have 15 minutes. I can quickly go through functions and then I'll hand off you. So I'll start with introduction of functions. Okay. And we can then do exercise. I can't stop, guys, because I need to complete the course. If we stop, then maybe on the data science part, there will be some parts which will be skipped. So It's a trade-off. If you want me to stop, I'll stop, but then you won't learn everything. Because you also want me to be slow, you also want me to stop. Siva Sundar, I am from India. Okay, I'm stopping for 5 minutes. Okay, take a 2 minutes break. Take a 2 minutes break. And I'll resume and I'll explain functions. Okay. Guys, so let's try to understand functions. Okay. First of all, before understanding functions, there are few things that you need to understand. Up until now, what we have learned today, okay? Up until now, what we have learned today, you need to understand what is the use case of that. So there are few things that we need to remember. One, it is dry, okay? What dry means? Dry means do not repeat yourself. Why do we need loops? Why do we need functions? Why do we need if-else? Because we don't want to write same piece of code again and again and again. Okay? What we want to do is we want to reuse our code. Okay? For example, in here, in a function, what we are doing, def keyword is what is used to define a function. A function is a block that contains series of statements that is to be executed. Okay. For example, let's say I define this function, right? Let's remove it. Okay. If I do this, nothing is printed because I have to call for action in here, right? Let's just say I do this. Now I'm doing this, but this is just an expression. It is not invoking it, okay? It is not invoking it or calling it. People use different terminologies. I use invoking or calling, okay? So it is not calling this function. Hence, you need to call this function as such. If you call this function as such, then it will print hello. Or if you want to reuse this, okay? If you want to, is my voice clear to everyone? It's clear to everyone. If someone is facing issues, it's because it's your system's issue. It's not issue happening on my end, okay? If you do this twice or thrice or 4 times or 5 times or so on and so forth, you can do it, right? And you don't really need to write it again and again. right? So that's what function do. Now, a good okay, let's take some example actually. Let's take some example. For example, right? We were doing something like this. You remember? Okay. We were doing something like this. Break statement is not used in a function because it is not a loop. Break statement is usually used in a loop because you want to break out of that loop. That's what break statement is for. Okay. Now, if you are having a loop, okay, and if you want to reuse this, you don't want to type all these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines of code. You can embed everything inside a function. That is where the use case of a function shines. Okay. Now, uh, okay. Functions can have arguments basically, right? Let's just say details. Let's create a new function. Okay. Understand this. Def is the keyword to create function. Def is the keyword to create function. Def is the keyword to create function. We created function. This is the name of the function. This is the name of the function, right? And braces tells us, okay, this is a function. Okay. This is a function. This is a callable function. Okay. And then we are having an indentation inside the function to tell that, okay, something will go inside this block. So let's try to print name. Okay. If you remember this formatted print, we already did it, right? We already did it. You remember this? Let's try to get name and age. Okay. And print it. Now, if I'm printing, sorry, oops. Now, I just need to call this. I just need to call this. And we have defined two parameters. These are called parameters. So we can name can be my name. Okay. And we can pass another parameter, age. So name and age, right? Name and age, right? It is very clear. Okay. If you remember, we have been reading about all the types and everything and so on and so forth. Okay. So what are the types? Types are str, int. Does this work? Does this work? Yes, it does work. We can explicitly write types. If we are not explicitly writing types, Python just infers the type. Python infers the type when it is interpreting. Okay. You don't really need to explicitly write types. However, if you write types, it actually gives you some type safety guarantees. Okay. But in the Python world, apparently types are not so common. People don't write types in Python a lot because it is not a strongly typed language. Okay. Now, what is a strongly typed language? Where you are forced to write types of each of the elements and parameters that you are using. Okay. In Python, you don't need to do it because Python infers it. Okay. Python infers it. What does infer means? Its compiler, sorry, its interpreter detects it at the runtime. Okay. What else you can play with? Okay. Let's just say you can assign it keyword arguments or default parameters. You can assign it keyword arguments or default parameters. Okay. So when it is assigned here in the function, it is called
default parameters. However, when it is assigned here, it is called keyword arguments. Okay, let's just say you say name here and age here, something like this. Okay, this should work. It should work. But this is pretty much bad practice and useless. You don't need it. This is a bad practice, useless. You don't need it. This is a bad practice, useless. You don't need it. Okay. However, you might be seeing this a lot, which is default parameter pattern. In here itself, if I give default values as such, okay, as such, and let's say okay, if you give default values as such, if you are not passing in any arguments, if you are not passing in any arguments, it takes this default value, right? It takes this default value. Okay. Now, there is one more thing. Okay, we'll expand on functions more. Up until now, this should be clear. Okay, guys, I'll end the class today. I think this week we have two more classes. This week we have two more classes. But I request you guys, please increase your attention span. I want to move faster. Okay. If we don't move faster, I can assure you there will be parts that will be left and I won't be able to complete it throughout the course, which I want to. Okay. You need to increase your attention span. That's one. Secondly, only ask me questions when I give you the slot. You know, last 15 minutes is particularly dedicated only for questions. This is a 2-hour session, which goes from 5 to 7, and last 15 minutes is only for questions. So I will suggest only ask me questions either in the last 15 minutes or I explicitly ask you to ask questions. Okay. In between, if you ask me questions, makes no sense. Secondly, don't ask me with timetable, attendance, so on and so forth. I'm not responsible for it. Go and ask Blackbucks guy. It will save you time and make this class smooth if you really want to learn. If you don't want to learn and if all you care about attendance, I would suggest you guys just turn on the video and leave it on. Okay, and sleep. No one will care if you are here or not because I am not personally watching you. But I am expecting if you are here, okay, then don't bug me with unnecessary questions. I want you guys to ask me productive questions which are related to what I'm teaching. Okay. We are basically at very basic level. I started from literally zero. I assumed you guys know nothing, and we have started from absolute zero. And we want to touch a level where like we know a lot of things in data science and machine learning. For that, we need speed. And I can only get speed if you try to grasp more things fast and if you try to not ask me things, unnecessary stuffs. Okay. And for any attendance, mind it, please don't ask me before last 15 minutes, or I don't even want to see that message before last 15 minutes. Please. It's just not good. It's disrespectful. Second. And thirdly, it shows that you are not really interested in the class. Okay. No need to apologize. I'm just saying it's just for your benefit. Otherwise, what will happen? I'll start paying attention to your questions and we'll miss out the things. Okay. So today what we learned basically for loops. We learned if else conditionals. We basically learned about while loops, and we got some introduction on functions. Okay. In the next class, we will be done with Python. I might not go over classes. Okay. I'll explain classes, but in very, very fast and in very brief. Okay. So classes is something that you can go over yourself. For anyone for whom voice is not clear, for anyone for whom voice is not clear, okay, for them, it's not my fault. It is your fault because your connection is not working. Most of the people are able to hear me clearly. Okay. Yeah, you can see my screen if someone missed anything because I'll anyways, it doesn't matter. Class is ended right now. Okay. Any other question? If you have, you can ask me now. Fast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. I hope everyone understood everything. I want to increase the speed, guys. Please, whoever has missed previous classes, refer to previous classes videos. Okay. Try to understand and cover whatever we have learned up until now. Because I want to move fast. I want to see that grasping power from you guys. If you are stuck, then we'll go slow. And if we are slow, then we'll miss out on things. Okay. I won't explain oops a lot. Okay. I'll basically speed run through oops and classes because we will be doing most of the time we'll be doing functional programming. I want to speed up things. So I'll just speed run with classes and oops concept, but we'll be completing Python course in the next session completely. And we will finally start the data science part. Okay. Also, there are two assignments that I'll be providing to Blackbucks, and those assignments needs to be done by you guys. I'm dropping, guys. Thanks. Bye. I'll hand them off these assignments basically in within 15 minutes. So I'm not sure when they'll hand off to you. Based on that they can hand off to you. Okay. Bye. Thanks.